Hello and welcome again to another video. Well, today guys, I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and I'm actually going to do a kind of update and review on the Spec Stage 1 clutch and lightened steel flywheel. So if this is something you're thinking about picking up, you definitely want to watch this video, guys. All right, let's get into it. So sitting in traffic like this, it's kind of a perfect time to kind of give you a full comprehensive review on what this clutch has been like. The only thing I haven't been able to really fully test this clutch on is an actual track day, whether that be drag racing or autocross or road racing, which I will be doing soon once the weather gets a little bit better. But for now, it's kind of I can give you a really good idea on what this clutch is like as a daily driver. And that was kind of the main reason why I went with the Spec Stage 1 clutch. Now, this clutch holds 550 foot-pounds of torque, and for a Boss 302 that's naturally aspirated, it's never gonna have more than 550 foot-pounds of torque. It's just not. So I didn't see the point in having a really stiff, heavy clutch if I'm never going to actually need that much of a power rating. So the car's had a few other upgrades done as far as the drivetrain is concerned, but this clutch I think is a perfect clutch for somebody in my position. You're naturally aspirated and you drive the car on the daily or almost semi-daily. The clutch pedal effort on this thing is pretty much stock. I would say it's stiffer, but I don't believe that's the real correct term for it. It's more consistent, whereas the factory clutch kind of gets a little bit light as you're kind of getting towards the end of the release. This one's kind of the consistent pressure all the way down through. Now, a couple of major improvements by doing this clutch. The factory clutch in any 2011 to 2014, and I'm not sure, possibly the new ones as well, the clutch is really bad. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've heard me talk a lot about the issues I have with this MT82 transmission. And now that I'm kind of on the other side of it and I've got something that's functioning the way it should have from the beginning, I can kind of really give you a good idea as to what solved that. And I think if you're in my boat that I was in, 6 months ago, start with the clutch. The clutch is going to be the #1 thing that's going to help you to determine if that's what only you need to solve the issue. While you're doing the clutch, if I was to say, okay, what other parts would I recommend to go with it? I think you should obviously do the lightened steel flywheel. It's semi-required when it comes to the Spec clutch. And if you're gonna do it, go with the lightened steel one, not the aluminum. And here's why. If we're talking again about a car that is being daily driven, the aluminum one is gonna have an excessive amount of chatter. When I was breaking this clutch in with the steel flywheel, I was getting a little bit of clutch chatter when you're engaging the clutch and slipping it in traffic. Once it broke in, the chatter was gone. And you still get a really nice throttle response with the steel flywheel, so you are getting a sense of better acceleration out of the car. But you're still able to make it drivable, so it's easy to clutch in and out when you're stuck in traffic, and I sit in a fair amount of traffic in this car, so I didn't want something that was going to be difficult to do that with. So the steel one's definitely probably the major other piece when you're buying this. So when I talk about it, think of it as clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel as one whole thing, because if you're going to do it, that's what you really should be doing. The other accessories that I would say are definitely some must-haves or nice-to-haves, I guess, kind of, would be ARP bolts for the flywheel. You're going to want to do those. There have been horror stories of these flywheels coming loose after time, so you don't want to be in that scenario. And then pilot bearing and throw bearing. Now, I ended up going with the McLeod throw bearing. It's a great piece, and I think that probably plays a big part in why the clutch pedal feels so consistent when I'm pushing it in, and it doesn't feel too mushy or anything like that. So I think that played a big part of the feeling I'm getting. And then I also went ahead and added the McLeod stainless steel clutch line. So when I kind of take all those parts together as a cohesive system, I think this is really going to solve most people's issues with the MT82 transmission. When it comes to that first gear, second gear, third gear, high RPM lockout, it was completely eliminated when I did that. Whereas I've done short throw shifters, I've done the Blowfish Racing support bracket, all of those things help to a certain degree, but I don't think they really solved it. And it was really, at the end of the day, it was the new clutch is what did it for me. So there's lots of clutch options out there for you guys. I went with Spec for a couple of reasons. I felt that the price point was good, and when I looked at the power rating, I felt, you know what, for a clutch that's supposed to be close to stock feel and handle that much power, for me, that was a no-brainer. And their machining tolerances, they claim to have some of the best in the industry, and after looking at the parts and seeing how it all went together, I'd have to agree. I think they definitely fit better than most other pieces out there, and it was a smooth install for the guys when they were rebuilding the transmission for me. No issues. They felt like it was doing an OEM clutch. So I'm really happy I went with that one, and I hope this helps some of you guys out. I know a lot of guys were like me, where you knew you wanted to fix this, you just didn't know how and what parts were really going to solve it. So I want to make this quick video to kind of tell you guys, like, this is my setup and this is working. So if you're in that position, you know, start with the clutch. That's going to be your first thing to do. I know it's the most labor intensive, but it really, you know, don't waste your money on other stuff just yet. Kind of invest your money there first, see if that works for you. And if it did, leave some comments below. I'd love to know what other guys are running for combinations and setups to solve that high RPM lockout. But believe me, I read the comments, and I know in my previous videos, tons of you guys were talking about this being the thing I should have done from the get-go, and you were right. So that's always nice to hear. If this is your first video of me, please subscribe. I do try to put out videos once every week, roughly 7 to 10 days. Took a little bit of a break in the last couple of weeks, but I'm cranking some out right now for the new year. So yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.